Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing the first part of our Futchamps games. We ended up playing 7 games. The reason why I stopped at 7 games is because I got really frustrated with the game, as you guys normally know. So that's why I decided to not continue to play. But you guys are going to be seeing the highlights of the 7 games that I did end up playing, types of goals that were scored, the changes that I actually made. So the title of this video is A Change in Striker. So the thing that I came to the conclusion of for Futchamps, and you guys know how I am when it comes to certain players, like it's not about the assists or the goals that you get, it's about how you're generally playing while you're on the pitch, right? So at some point in this video, you guys are going to see that I no longer use Jamie Vardy as a striker, and I'll explain why, right? So I like playing a 4-2-3-1 bracket 2 because obviously it's probably one of the most effective formations in FIFA because the CDMs, if you have decent ones, they're very important to have a team to defend with, right? So with the two CDMs being Fabinho and Herrera, which to be honest isn't very good, I need to get like Conte and somebody else. My goal right now for the beginning of my team, like I'm okay with having like the Zahas, the Roberto Firminos, and all those guys, but the coins that I'm building up right now, I'm gonna try my best to get Laurent Blanc and probably Conte. So that's where my money's gonna be spent right now. But the change in striker is a result of multiple things, right? So in this year's game, if you have a lone striker, the most important thing about that lone striker is that he needs to be physically capable of outbodying most of your opposition, right? So if you're able to outbody most of your opposition, you'll be able to lay the ball off to other people and so on and so forth. With Roberto Firmino's card, because his agility and balance is low, I give him sniper. Now, whether or not that changes his dribbling, I'm not entirely too sure. But what I did end up doing is I did give him a sniper card because the pace doesn't seem as relevant, right? Like all my attackers now pretty much have sniper on their cards, and the reason being for that is because pace just doesn't really do much for you in this game, right? So with Roberto Firmino, I now use him as a striker, and I put Zaha on my team. So the reason why I did this is because with the dynamic tactic, I actually switched to the 4-2-3-1. Zaha plays as my right mid, Willian plays as my cam, and then my left mid is Sadio Mane, and then my striker is Roberto Firmino. So I feel like there's a nice little balance there. Again, I'm okay with having those 4 guys as my current attackers, except Willian's finishing is very inconsistent in general, so we're probably going to be looking into that for the future. But in regards to how the team is balanced right now, the only positions that I realize really needs upgrades is those CDM positions because it's so easy to pass them due to their work rates. Like I really feel like this is the year that you genuinely need medium-high work rates to play well in that general position because you guys will see a lot when people attack against me, their positioning isn't very good. On the pitch because of that work rate. They usually push up quite a bit. Even when I don't really want to push up that much, they still kind of do it because that's just their characteristic, mind you, right? So for me personally, that's what I want to do with the team is upgrade the CDM area. Roberto Firmino has multiple characteristics that makes him a good striker. So physical presence is a big one. Passing it is another huge one, right? So if you're my lone striker, right, I need to be able to dribble quickly with you because, again, finesse shots are very effective in this year's game, so you kind of have to do them, right? And then there's also the fact that there is this thing where you need good passing stats to be able to lay it off to the sides, like to your right mids, your left mids, your CDMs, your cams. You need to be able to do that. And I've noticed that after using Roberto Firmino, he is missing the pace. The pace would definitely be important on this card. That's why I'm saying like players like Ronaldo would be incredible. Someone like Ruud Gullit is going to make a fantastic central cam this year because he has like good defensive capabilities, so on and so forth, right? But with Roberto Firmino, he is definitely missing out on the pace, which is definitely frustrating in certain points of the game. But really good card to use as a striker. So that's how my team is set up. I changed a lot of things after I lost one of the games you guys are going to see right now after conceding 2 very poor goals. My right back pushes into the middle, and I'm using ultra defensive where I'm telling my right mid to come back on defense so that I can block that extra run that the player makes. None of that happens after I defend well the entire game. He scores that first goal. Second goal, I defend really well in my CDM, tackle him really nicely, and the ball lands perfectly into the middle with him, and there's nothing I can do after that one. So after that game happened, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to use the most, I wouldn't say random instructions and tactics, but I definitely changed my formations a lot. So with the 4-2-3-1 that I'm using right now, I still have stay back while attacking for the CDMs and for the fullbacks. But for the left mid and the right mid, I have to get in behind so that they make those runs on the sides. I don't. I sometimes tell them to come back on defense, but I think they're going to waste a lot of stamina that way. So it just depends on the situation, I think. But right now, they're only set to get in behind. The striker, I tell him to be on mixed attack because now that I'm using Roberto Firmino up top as a striker, it just feels better for me personally. High work rates is very odd with Roberto Firmino as well as a striker, so that's also kind of like a weird thing. But when you're playing a 4-2-3-1, your striker needs to essentially play like a really good center forward, because every time I was using the ball with someone like Vardy, the thing that I've always been mentioning is that he's very skinny in game and has no physical presence. He doesn't have the weak foot. He doesn't have the passing stats. Is he good at being aggressive towards getting the ball back? Absolutely. But he was just missing too many certain aspects of his card that I needed him to be good at. There was a lot of like physical battles that he never won that Roberto Firmino could definitely have won if I used him instead. So again, definitely missing out on the pace part, but it doesn't feel too relevant right now because I just feel like I've been playing better with Roberto Firmino as my striker. So we've been trying that out recently, and we're seeing how it's working out, and it's been really good, right? So the other formations that I've been using is the 4-1-2-2. 4-1-2-2, I have getting behind on my strikers. My cam is on balanced. My center mids are on stay back while attacking and stay on the edge of the box. Stay back while attacking for the fullbacks. And my dynamic tactic, I think I changed the depth of the team, like how high they are, basically to like a 4 and a 4. That's what my defensive tactics is set up on, and balanced on the defensive and attacking side. I've been experimenting with constant pressuring with the 4-2-3-1. I think constant pressuring works really nicely with the 4-2-3-1 wide, just because of how it generally plays, right? So, because if you're constant pressuring, right, in a 4-2-3-1, the players kind of just warp towards the ball, and they end up being in pretty good positions when they have the ball. But a lot of the times I noticed that when I was using constant pressuring, people were always able to attack my CDM area. So again, that's why I like using balance on the defensive tactics. My ultra defensive tactics, I may be changing because, honest to God, every time I use my ultra defensive tactics, it just doesn't work properly. Reason being for that is because dynamic tactics are broken in some sort of way. Sometimes you will use, like you'll set up pre-game with your dynamic tactic to have your CDM to be blocking, or you set players pre-game to be in a CDM position, a center mid position, so on and so forth. In FIFA, I noticed that when I was using the 4-2-3-1, my Roberto Firmino, who's supposed to be playing as the cam at one point, right, was actually playing as my right mid. And I would never use Roberto Firmino as a right mid because, in my honest opinion, you genuinely need the pace in that area to be able to score goals, right? So I just feel like the players who are slower at dribbling, like unless they have good shooting stats, the weak foot and stuff, like Perisic. Perisic is a good card to have on that side because, you know, he can finesse it with his left foot, he can finesse it on his right foot, so on and so forth, right? But right now, I feel like the wingers that work the best are definitely the pacey ones, right? Because you need to be able to get in behind and, you know, basically pull players to their general areas and then go from there, right? The finishing in the game was still frustrating me a lot. I never show the 1v1s that I miss with my players, like shooting across goal. I've seen some comments in the last video of people saying, you know, why do you keep shooting the same way if it's obviously not working? And the thing that I feel like people need to understand is that in real life football, if I get into those scenarios, and you guys probably saw the Mane miss that I had earlier today, right? If you guys like have experienced real life football at all, right? You know that when you are in a position like that, you have to driven shot across goal. In the future, I will be trying to finesse it near post instead, but just know that that actually makes zero sense in regards to the types of goals you see. One thing you guys will notice with the goalkeeper animations is that when you guys are close to them, there's actually no goalkeeper animation when you want to either chip them or shoot when they're right on you. They actually just stand still, right? And I feel like that's another big problem because, again, when you're close to the goalkeeper on the 1v1, I feel like it should be the easiest way to score. So I feel like there needs to be some sort of animation for you to be able to chip the goalkeeper right? Basically almost every single time if you have good like finishing stats and stuff. Like Roberto Firmino, if he's close to the goalkeeper and I hit that chip shot, it should be going into the back of the net. There is zero registration of the goalkeeper when you shoot the ball close to them. You saw it there when I scored the deflection with Mane because it just didn't work with me trying to actually just shoot it normally, right? Because I have a lot of things, right? A lot of things that people mentioned this year with the finishing is that if I don't driven shot in a certain area because I know it isn't consistent, people will say, why don't you just driven shot across goal? If I shoot the ball near post from a finesse shot and the goalkeeper saves it, people will say, why don't you just driven shot to the left side? If I shoot the near post, or if I shoot the driven shot across goal, I think I just said the same thing twice and I apologize for that. If I shoot the driven shot across goal and I miss, people will say I should have done a chip shot. If I go close to the goalkeeper and I do a regular shot, people would say I should have done a chip shot. So it's like this never-ending battle of people telling you what you should or shouldn't have done in terms of your finishing. But at the end of the day, there is absolutely no consistency with how you should shoot in this game. And this is something that I need to mention. When I played PES, whenever I missed a shot, it was almost always my fault, right? The reason why I say almost always is because it depends on the players you have. If you have, I'm just going to say this right now, and I said this in the last video. If you have the players that I have right now in PES, it doesn't matter what legends you have in your team. If I am a good enough player, I can beat that team because the finishing is consistent. I posted a Twitter video the other day of me playing one PES game after not playing it I haven't played it since the release of FIFA, right? And I just absolutely loved the finishing because it was so simple. When I got into position and I took the extra touch to get into the middle of the box, all I had to do was shoot it across goal, and most of the times it would go in. If the goalie saved it, it was because a regular shot wasn't the right shot to do. Maybe chipping it would have been the best option. I just like a game, right, where when I'm 1v1 with the goalkeeper, it is consistent to score certain ways. If I should shoot it across goal, I should shoot it across goal. If there's pressure on me that I can't shoot across goal because the person is defending that general area, then I will just control the ball, cut inside, and finesse it, right? If I'm really close to the goalkeeper and he's rushing after me, and I myself as the player am composed enough to chip the ball, I should be rewarded for that. And that's why I really, really like PES's finishing, because that's how it generally is for every single game you play. And I absolutely love that's actually a thing in that game. So, yeah, it's just, the finishing needs to be the easiest thing in FIFA, and it's the hardest thing to do in the 1v1s. The one thing that I do want to say, guys, is I appreciate all the support that you guys showed on the last video in terms of my FIFA 19 gameplay rant. I really, really do appreciate that. And the reason why I do, and I'll explain it to you guys, is because those videos are very scary to make, okay? Because when you make those types of videos, you don't know how people are going to feel about those, because it's basically me bashing the entirety of the game, right? And saying how I feel about the gameplay mechanics and so on and so forth. And I was really surprised at how many people really agreed with it, because I felt like what I would say is only based off of the results that I get. And you guys know, if you guys have watched my content for years, you know that that's not the case. I've had years where I've had a 10 win-loss ratio and still bash the game because it wasn't good enough, right? And I think that's what separates FIFA and PES. People don't give PES gameplay a chance because it's PES. At the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to. Because their gameplay right now, they have their flaws, absolutely. They definitely do. But in terms of which game I would have more fun playing gameplay-wise, PES is definitely the answer to that, right? I wish it had more of a relevancy for content creation and for streaming and all that stuff, because what PES does for the game, what FIFA does for my channel and for all that stuff, PES cannot do, right? And it's unfortunate that that's the case, but it makes sense because PES still have a lot to work with. Not necessarily gameplay-wise, but licenses. They need to fix their menu stuff. They need to fix how their My Club menu works, because it's honestly awful. But I do really, really like their gameplay. Every time I play it, I just love... And this is the biggest reason, and I'm going to keep reiterating it. The finishing is just consistent, and I love that, okay? Because when I create open space and I get past the other person's team, I am rewarded for it. You don't have defensive AI of players they're not controlling doing slide tackling blocks for them to save it. They do slide tackling blocks, but they don't do it facing the player. They do it to block a general area because they know that if you get into that position, you deserve to score. And that's why I really like the gameplay in PES. Once you guys give it a chance, the super cancel, being able to not warp only to the ball, but to just run in a general area, is the best feature I've ever seen in any video game. I hate that I cannot do that in FIFA. I try to cancel, but it just makes my player stop running, and then I have to like run again, but he still gets connected to the ball, and there's a lot of frustrations that FIFA gives. I just feel like when I played PES, I just never got that angry playing PES. Like, I realized what I was doing wrong. But that is going to conclude the video for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay segment. You guys saw the types of goals that were being scored and so on and so forth. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video today. If you guys enjoyed it, please drop a thumbs up on it. I will probably be posting the part 2 and the part 3 videos for tomorrow's video. So I'll see you guys there.